all right. How about this? How about this? You're just surrounded on all sides. The fight has gone poorly. There's a gazillion orcs coming at you. Again, if we don't tiny hut, we're definitely going to die. If we do tiny hut, we'll probably die, but we'll have a shot.
Do I
And
want
8 hours to
spell?
think of something.
Do I want a spell that only works if I have exactly a minute between me and death to
I
then
keep
stave off
forgetting about
death?
the minute. Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Tiny Hut.
The little tiny hut. You can look into it and you can see little people inside.
That's not what it is.
No, not even a little
Yeah.
bit. This is a long rest in a tin, kind of. So this is a ritual spell for some ungodly reason. It's third level with minute cast time, self 10-foot radius, a 10-foot area. It says first material components. The material component is a small crystal bead. Duration is 8 whole hours. School's evocation. A 10-foot radius immobile dome of force springs into existence around and above you and remains stationary for the duration. The spell ends if you leave its area. 9 creatures of medium size or smaller can fit inside the dome with you. The spell fails if it's an area includes a larger creature or more than 9 creatures. So, if you try and put a large buddy in here, nope, spell goes away. Creatures and objects within the dome, when you cast the spell, can move through it freely. All other creatures and objects are barred from passing it through it. Spells and other magical effects can't extend through the dome or be cast through it. The atmosphere inside the dome, inside the space, is comfortable and dry, regardless of the weather outside. Till the spell ends, you can command the interior to become dimly lit or dark. The dome is opaque from the outside or any color of your choice, but transparent from the inside. Oh, tiny hut. Bard wizard spell.
Yeah, so like you said at the beginning, just long rest in a tin.
Yeah, that's the idea at least.
What else are you doing with this?
That's a good question. Comment down below. What else are you doing with this? It basically just, to me, is always read as that contentious spell that people try and long rest in. And me as a DM, I say, okay. And then the monsters destroy their soul afterwards when they camped outside of their base, and everyone gets to feel bad about their choices. But other people just don't know how to beat it, and they don't want to be a jerk. So people rested it, and they just feel like, oh, my players get all their stuff back all the time for free. There's no consequences or costs to anything. It's one of those spells. This is a spell that has a lot of strong opinions about it, and I largely ended the camp with, it's fine. I don't play in a lot of games where it matters that much.
I'm always paranoid. I've never taken it. I'm worried. Like, all right, yeah, like you said, the monsters. All right, we're protected. The monsters are thinking, oh, great, I got time to call in reinforcements. You know,
Or just put a large rock on top of it, right?
yeah.
Just like literally put a physical object that weighs a lot on top of the dome.
Yeah.
The player's either going to have to stop their long rest, or the moment that long rest is gone, everyone ducks for cover and uses resources to not get crushed to death. It's not a hard thing to have countermeasures to. This is still the kind of spell that if you want to get use out of it, you still kind of have to jump through the hoops of doing your due diligence of like finding shelter and finding a cool place to rest. If you're doing all that, do you need this?
Yeah. What is this? Just so people don't have to take watch?
I guess. But even then, like, if there's a band of bandits or monsters or things that have any kind of sentience, they see this specifically colored odd dome, they're gonna croak fraud at it. Like, maybe you get things to wander on by like bears and stuff, but I do think if you're being hunted, this doesn't seem to be an effective method to like actually get safety. It feels like this is just an effective way to put yourself in the middle of a lot of trap prep. Now, you could break this as they're prepping the traps and attack them with the element of surprise.
Yeah.
But then I don't know why you were making it in the first place, because you have enough resources to do that. So, like, what is this doing exactly?
Well, I
For a
mean,
lot
maybe
of
you have to weigh your options at that point. Yeah. I'd like to take a long rest, but these guys are gathering their forces. All right, well, time to run at them.
Sure. And as a wizard, you can just slam this in your spellbook as a ritual and never have to worry about if it's actually good. So that's nice. As a bard, you have a lot
Yeah.
harder time casting this. You need this to be good as a bard. So there's gonna once again be a little bit of tension there. I do think I want to touch on, if the different kinds of like modes this has from table to table. So there will be some tables where this actually just reads whenever we want. We would take a long rest. In that instance, it is ridiculously powerful. If you can just go throw this outside the big bad's door, make a long rest after 4 encounters, and then all of a sudden all your stuff is back before the fight when you were supposed to spend it, it's amazing. I'm not a kind of I don't see many worlds where that actually happens, but apparently it does. So, in that instance, wow, the spell is busto. I think at an average table where your DM is more likely to be engaged in making you have consequences for your actions, the middle zone, I don't really see having any major benefits. Like,
All right, maybe it's just something, like a unspoken agreement between the players and DM. If you're in the woods, all right, we don't want to have any random encounters while we're sleeping. Set up a tiny hut. And the DM says, yeah, fine, whatever. Okay. It's the next morning.
so maybe this is just like a tool specifically for random encounter mitigation. Like you just use
Maybe.
this as the exact point of dumb things stumbling across us won't be a problem.
I don't know. I was also trying to think of other uses. You could block a passageway for 8 hours. I mean, you have
That's
to
real
hang
use.
around there.
That's no longer real use. You're right. You can't leave this thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to help your friends escape, yeah. All right, here you go. You block it for 8 hours while your friends run away, and you're a wizard. When it's done, you teleport.
So you have to spend a minute putting this down.
Yes.
And that needs to then give them an extra 8 hours to get away, and then you can get away. Right? That's what needs to
Yeah.
happen here.
All right. So the baddies don't know where you are, but you.
Okay.
All right. Sound can travel through, right?
Yes.
You put it up and then you start like, taunting them. We're over here. Oh, look, we're all nice and meaty. And then they're coming after you and banging on the dome. Your friends run away and you still dance in front of them
Mm-hmm.
for 8 hours and then teleport away.
I don't understand. Other than taunting, I don't know what the point of that is. But if the point is to taunt, you're nailing it.
Because if you all just try to run away, you don't know where the monsters are.
So
They could be
your
anywhere.
objective is to use this as a tool to draw the monsters to you.
Now you know where they are, and you can run the other way, or your friends can run the other way.
So your friends aren't with you then. So you've like split up, spent a minute, made a dome, and started
No,
yelling
no,
aggressively.
no. You're all starting in the dome.
So then your friends you attract the monsters to you. So
Right.
then your friends can run out of the
So
dome away from the monsters.
now we know where the monsters are. Okay, we're gonna run that way.
Okay. Is it better to hope the monsters aren't where you're going or draw the monsters to you? Which of those
Well, if
sounds
you've got
better?
a tiny hut,
The
then
latter still sounds better. I would rather the monsters not be near me in both situations. If
yeah,
I don't
but
know
you
where the
don't know
monsters are
where
and I
they are.
go,
I'm
go ahead.
if I'm trying to get out of a dungeon, of course, if the monsters come from this side, then I'm
That's the
screwed
way
either way.
out.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'm trying.
Yeah, I know. I can see that. I respect the idea. I think if you're going for taunting and goading, this is a winner. If you're not, I don't know. I don't really see it.
All right, one more. All right, some pirates caught you and they strapped a cannonball to your foot and threw you overboard. You're on the bottom of the ocean. You're gonna drown. Tiny hut. The area is warm and dry.
Here's a question.
You got 8 hours to figure out what to do from there.
So you can't breathe underwater, right?
I can't. No.
So if you can't whenever you go down, this has a minute cast time, and that sure has a verbal component to it.
Shucks.
So no.
Yeah, probably not.
Apparently,
You
using
know
verbal
what?
components only takes away half the breathing time you had remaining.
Oh, does it?
So
Are
maybe
there rules for this? Okay,
I
good.
this is the first upvoted post on Reddit, Bob. These aren't rules. These are people's
Okay.
understanding of things they've heard. But apparently the other general consensus is there aren't clear establishing rules in the books. But Jeremy Crawford apparently said that being underwater doesn't hinder spellcasting, so I guess it's fine. So sure, if you get
You can hold
thrown
your breath for a
overboard with an
minute, or
anchored, If you're wearing lead boots at the bottom of the sea, yeah, sure, you now have 8 hours of air. Neat.
All right, that's something. And
Is it
sharks won't get you.
also that? You can also light it up so people can find
Like
you, maybe?
if I'm trying to get, shackles off my foot, the last thing I need to worry about are sharks.
True. Um, I hope they don't reprint the spell. I hope the spell gets to leave the game because I don't think it does anything productive for the game. I don't think the game is better having this weird tool that tries to facilitate long rests in places that you're not supposed to be able to long rest.
All
Like I
right, now
don't
we had a similar talk, I think, about what was it? Rope trick?
that maybe road trip.
Yeah, because that's always rubbed me the wrong way, but that's only a short rest. But it's like, yeah, what you were saying before about camping outside the big bad's door, getting all your resources back. That always felt to me like, you know, not cheating necessarily, but a cheesy thing to do. And I brought that up, and you said, yeah, but you never know how the encounters are going to go, how whatever. Sometimes the players just need that.
I mean, so rules is written.
Yeah,
You still have to take time to climb into the rope trick, which means you can't technically short rest in there because you'll have 59 minutes and 54 seconds before you're booted out. And once you're booted
that,
out, the short rest ends. So
that
like,
sucks.
but the reason I like rope trick is it's an action to cast. So you just make an extra dimensional space as a hidey hole, and you can do the
Mm,
cute little Scooby Doo mystery, like hide behind the
yeah,
vase things with it, right? That's what I like rope trick for a lot. And I think that spell serves that purpose, even if that purpose isn't that strong. It's at least interesting and fun. And you can do the cool thing where like you throw the rope up and don't even use it for the space, just use it as a way to get the rope 60 feet in the air. That's
right.
also a neat little mode it has. I don't see any modes to Tiny Hut outside of we're trying to take a long rest. And the fact that
Yeah.
there aren't modes outside of that, or you're not trying to drown to the bottom of the ocean, sorry, the two modes that we've come up with today. Uh, I don't see there being reason to go through the hassle of can you cheese long rests with this, and for that reason I don't know, I'm gonna give this thing a 1. I don't think it deserves, I don't think it has a spot in this game.
I mean, you may not like the use of camping outside the big bad's door, but it's still a use. I
i
mean, it does
so
something.
I don't find as a DM that it isn't a use, right? If my players are resting for 8 hours outside of my villain's front door, that's going to end terribly for them, right? I don't want this as a player if I have a DM that understands the context of magic,
Right.
because this is more liability than it is perk. So, like, in the actual use case, I find if you don't have a DM that is like fresh or even like is worried to impose restrictions, if you're not playing with a DM that is concerned about making the players not even necessarily challenge, but to feel like they are not able to push back against these kinds of things, the spell doesn't do anything. It only does things at the pushover DM tables, and I don't think that's a reason enough for it to exist. Like, I don't buy the use case of, oh, we're out in the woods, I don't want to get attacked by bears tonight, I guess we'll sleep in a tiny hut. That use seems really flimsy to me.
That's see, that feels like cosmetic cantrip to me. But
But at third level with the higher resource costs
yeah.
and other things, right?
Um, what about like the party is really torn to shit? They're wiped out. Everybody's down to single digit hit points. Like, all right, I know if we use this, the DM is gonna hit us with something big, but I still like our odds, with the tiny hut and a full rest than going at them right now.
So again, the thing that I'll point to is if you're able to rest for 8 hours, how is the tiny hut making that something you're able to do where you couldn't do that before? You could go find shelter, you could vacate the space, you could prepare and come back later and have better outcomes, conceivably, or at minimum the same outcomes, right? If you lock everything in a closet and bar the door with a very heavy bar, I think you're going to have a very similar chance of success.
Maybe. All right. How about this? How about this? You're just surrounded on all sides. The fight has gone poorly. There's a gazillion orcs coming at you. Again, if we don't tiny hut, we're definitely going to die. If we do tiny hut, we'll probably die, but we'll have a shot.
Do I
And
want
eight
to
hours to
spell
think of something.
do I want a spell that only works if I have exactly a minute between me and death to then
I keep
stave off
forgetting about
death,
the minute. Yes.
right?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it does something. I'm giving it a 2. It has the potential to do something.
I don't see it. Commenters, let me
All right.
know what your tiny hut
Yeah.
experiences are. Is the spell usable in a fair instance? Is it either game breaking or not game breaking? I don't know. Tell me what your thoughts are.
I think we're gonna have some tiny hut fans.
I believe that. I don't get it, but I believe it.
All right. We'd love to hear your comments. So thank you for watching and let us know your opinions down below. Thank you, Sam, as always. And everybody like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.